we underscore our drive to modernize the armed forces of the Philippines, enhancing interoperability with our allies and reinforce the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept. It is our way of ensuring that the AFP remains a capable, agile, and forward-thinking force prepared to defend and ready to respond and poised to lead.
The Philippines is undergoing the fastest military transformation in Southeast Asia, evolving from a lightly equipped archipelago into a missile-armed frontline power at the heart of the West Philippine Sea. This shift comes at a moment when China has intensified its coercive campaign with over 230 hostile maritime incidents in 2024-25, including 70 PSI water cannon blasts at Ayungin Shoal, strong enough to shatter steel and injure sailors. New BBC Verify satellite images released in late 2025 revealed Chinese flotillas conducting at-sea replenishment operations far from any home port, an unmistakable sign that Beijing is preparing for sustained blue water operations rather than simple patrols. At the same time, China accelerated the construction of its fourth aircraft carrier and expanded missile emplacements on the fortified reefs of Mischief, Subi, and Fiery Cross, signaling a capability shift that Manila can no longer afford to ignore. Against this rapidly evolving threat environment, the Philippines has moved decisively away from its former strategy of relying on diplomacy and lightly armed constabulary forces. Instead, it is assembling a historic four-nation missile architecture with India, Japan, the United States, and South Korea, forming what analysts now describe as a vertically integrated missile wall across Luzon, Palawan, and the Batan's corridor. This integrated system, combining India's supersonic BrahMos strike capability, Japan's Chu-SAM air defense shield, US radar and satellite-linked targeting networks, and South Korea's naval and aerial platforms, gives the Philippines a level of deterrent power unmatched by any other Southeast Asian state. What makes this transformation even more striking is how it now positions the Philippines relative to its neighbors. Vietnam is expanding its missile defenses, but lacks the multi-layered integration Manila is building. Indonesia is improving its air force, but has no long-range strike capability. Malaysia and Brunei remain diplomatically cautious and militarily limited. Even Taiwan, though far better armed, does not possess a four-country combined surveillance and targeting ecosystem. The Philippines has, in effect, leapfrogged its regional peers by constructing an Indo-Pacific anti-access area denial grid that aligns with the most advanced doctrines of modern warfare. As Hal Brands noted, missiles, not ships, will decide the next conflict in the first island chain, and Manila has firmly positioned itself on this cutting edge. Admiral Samuel Paparo reinforced this shift, stating that the Philippines is now aligning with the future fight, long-range, precision-guided, and fully networked.
Would the U.S. consider, certainly within the context of consultations, every option between the two sovereign nations in terms of our mutual defense? Escort of one vessel to the other is an entirely reasonable option within our mutual defense treaty among this close alliance between the two of us.
The result is a strategic metamorphosis. The Philippines is no longer merely reacting to China's aggression. It is becoming a regional disruptor capable of imposing costs, reshaping naval behavior, and complicating Beijing's calculus across the South China Sea. With its new missile wall, the country has entered a new era, one defined not by vulnerability, but by deterrence, confidence, and an emerging ability to defend its rightful waters with precision and power.
Well, definitely we will continue our patrols in the West Philippine Sea. No, not just the maritime sea patrols, but also our air patrols. Because it is our obligation, it is our job to do that, to protect our rights, our sovereignty, and our rights in the West Philippine Sea.
China's expanding military footprint has reshaped the strategic balance in the West Philippine Sea and left littoral states with shrinking room to maneuver. By 2025, the PLA Navy had grown to more than 370 warships, becoming the world's largest fleet by hull count, while Beijing fortified 7 artificial islands with runways, radar arrays, barracks, and missile batteries capable of projecting force deep into Southeast Asian waters. Its newly strengthened Mega Coast Guard law even authorizes the use of deadly force in disputed maritime zones, giving China legal cover for escalatory behavior at sea. Against this backdrop, the Philippines has undergone a dramatic doctrinal shift. The 2025 AFP budget hit a record 288 billion Filipino pesos, with nearly 80% now allocated to external defense, a historic reversal from decades of prioritizing counterinsurgency. Under revised AFP operational rules, the mission is no longer simply to respond to foreign encroachment, but to prevent it through credible deterrence. This transition was accelerated by real-world confrontations. In March 2025, 2 China Coast Guard vessels rammed a Philippine resupply boat en route to Ayungin Shoal, injuring 4 Filipino crewmen and prompting Manila to fast-track its air defense and coastal missile acquisitions. As CSES maritime expert Gregory Poling warned, China escalates because it can. The Philippines is now making sure it can't. This is the strategic logic behind the missile wall, an evolving defense architecture built not out of ambition, but necessity. India provides the Philippines with the most lethal element of its emerging missile wall, the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, a weapon designed specifically for high-speed maritime strike and coastal defense. With a range of 290 to 450 kilometers and blistering speeds of Mach 2.8 to 3, BrahMos gives the AFP something it has never possessed before: the ability to hit hostile warships long before they can threaten Philippine waters or assets. Fired from mobile coastal batteries and transporter erector launchers, the system can saturate targets across the Luzon Strait, Palawan coastline, and the central West Philippine Sea, effectively forcing Chinese naval vessels to operate outside their usual patrol zones and well beyond the Philippine EEZ. This is a major transformation. Philippine forces can now deny access to choke points that shape the Indo-Pacific maritime highway. Actual deployment locations highlight the strategic intent. BrahMos units positioned in northern Luzon can monitor and interdict activity near Taiwan's southern approach, while potential placements at EDCA sites in Cagayan and Ilocos give operators a commanding view of the Bashi Channel. On the western front, Palawan-based batteries can hold Chinese ships at risk near Mischief Reef, Second Thomas Shoal, and the broader Spratly Arc. For the Philippines, this is not simply an arms purchase, it is a new offensive layer of deterrence. As Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh put it, BrahMos in the Philippines is not just a sale, it is a stabilizing factor in the Indo-Pacific, and Manila has treated it as such, committing 18.9 billion pesos, the largest missile acquisition in its history, to secure a capability that can fundamentally reshape Chinese naval behavior. Japan provides the Philippines with the critical air defense and interceptor layer of its emerging missile wall through the proposed transfer of the Type 03 Chu-SAM, a modern surface-to-air system designed to shoot down enemy aircraft, drones, and cruise missiles. With an effective range of 30 to 50 kilometers and up to 70 kilometers for the upgraded Type 03 Kai, Chu-SAM uses phased array radar capable of tracking and engaging multiple high-speed threats simultaneously. Exactly the kind of protection needed against China's YJ-83 anti-ship missiles, CJ-10 land attack systems, and massed drone swarms. This offer comes at a pivotal moment. Japan's 2024 defense export reforms now allow full weapon system transfers for the first time in decades, and the Philippines has become the first potential Southeast Asian recipient of a Japanese air defense package under the new policy, symbolizing a strategic shift in Tokyo's regional engagement. The United States provides the digital nervous system of the Philippines' emerging missile wall, linking together sensors, shooters, and allied commands into a single, networked defense grid. Washington has already deployed AN TPS-77 long-range radars across key Philippine locations, offering persistent coverage over the Luzon Strait, Bashi Channel, and large swaths of the West Philippine Sea. Additional support, including NASAM's air defense systems, pending, Javelin and Harpoon training, and pre-positioned equipment at 5 EDCA bases, forms the backbone of a U.S.-Philippine integrated fire network. What makes the U.S. contribution decisive is its unparalleled expertise in ISR, satellite tracking, data fusion, and joint command and control doctrine, capabilities that transform the Philippines' new missiles from isolated systems into a coherent, precise, and instantly responsive strike architecture.
In a realistic operational scenario,
If a Chinese J-16 fighter were to intrude near Batanes, a US-linked radar would detect it first, feeding data into a Philippine air defense node. The Chu-SAM system would automatically track the aircraft, while Filipino commanders, using US-supported C2 networks, could rapidly assess the threat, classify intent, and authorize engagement if required. This interconnected approach reflects what Indo-PACOM Commander Admiral Samuel Paparo emphasized in 2025. The Philippines is the geographic linchpin of Indo-Pacific defense. Washington's financial commitment shows this reality, with the U.S. now investing $100 million per year to upgrade infrastructure across EDCA sites, turning them into forward hubs for surveillance, logistics, and rapid response throughout the first island chain.
South Korea provides the Philippines with a diverse mix of air, naval, and artillery platforms that strengthen the mobility and flexibility of its growing missile wall. Manila already operates Korean-built FA-50PH light fighters, K-136 and K-239 multiple launch rocket systems, and an expanding fleet of offshore patrol vessels, OPVs, from HD Hyundai, including the Jose Rizal class frigates and new generation patrol ships designed for long-range operations. These assets give the Philippines the ability to pair surveillance, targeting, and strike capabilities in ways it could not before. Looking ahead, the possibility of acquiring advanced systems such as LSAM, South Korea's high-altitude interceptor comparable to THAAD, signals the long-term potential for a tiered air defense architecture capable of complementing Japan's Chu-SAM and US NASAM's networks. In real-world maritime operations,
South Korean vessels have become crucial enablers for missile-era defense. OPVs like the BRP Jose Rizal and newly delivered HD Hyundai ships enhance maritime domain awareness, perform anti-submarine patrols, and provide targeting support for systems like BrahMos by extending radar coverage deeper into contested waters.
We stand firm. We will never tolerate any act of disrespect against our sovereignty. We will continue to safeguard our maritime zones and exercise our maritime entitlements in accordance with international law. Wala tayong isusuko, wala tayong papapabayaan. What we witnessed during the commissioning ceremony of the Navy's two newly acquired vessels, the BRP Miguel Malvar and the BRP Albert Mahini, is a Philippine Navy that is modernizing, that is evolving, and is ready to conduct more complex and effective operations in promoting the country's national interest.
This makes South Korea not just an equipment supplier, but a builder of platforms that allow the Philippines' missile grid to function across air, sea, and littoral environments. As RAND analyst Sue Kim puts it, Seoul sees Manila as a future missile partner, not just a buyer, a sentiment reflected in South Korea's expanding strategic posture in the Indo-Pacific. With more than $1 billion in military equipment supplied since 2010, Seoul has become one of Manila's most reliable defense partners, shaping the next generation of Philippine naval and air defense capability.
the Philippines' emerging missile wall is a fully interlocking defense architecture built from 4 complementary layers working in unison to deny China the ability to operate freely in the West Philippine Sea. At the outer edge sits India's BrahMos, a long-range maritime strike weapon capable of hitting hostile ships up to 450 kilometers away, effectively pushing PLA naval forces back from Philippine waters and key choke points. Covering these strike units is Japan's Chu-SAM air and missile defense shield, designed to intercept aircraft, drones, and incoming cruise missiles, protecting air bases, coastal batteries, and EDCA sites from a first strike attempt. Feeding these systems with real-time awareness is the United States radar, networking, and fire control layer, which provides early warning through long-range sensors, joint targeting doctrine, and satellite-based tracking that ties Philippine and allied forces into a common operating picture. Supporting all of this from the sea is South Korea's fleet of OPVs and modern frigates, which extend surveillance range, assist in target detection, and secure the maritime battle space that enables missile operations to function without interruption. Together, these 4 layers form a multi-domain denial system that makes any Chinese operation in or near Philippine waters riskier, more expensive, strategically unpredictable, and politically explosive.
a deterrence architecture designed to stop conflict not by fighting war, but by making war too costly to start.
If you liked the video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for deep analysis of contemporary issues.